Good afternoon to all. Welcome back. In the last class, we have discussed about electrophilic substitution reactions of phenols. Nothing but nitration, halogenation, these reactions we have discussed. Okay. So in today's class, we are going to discuss important reactions like Kolb's reaction, Riemann-Thieme reaction. These are very important. Okay. Let us see these reactions. Let us see Kolb's reaction. Okay. So in Kolb's reaction, we prepare salicylic acid from phenol. So the starting reactant in Kolb's reaction is nothing but a phenol. Phenol, it is treated with sodium hydroxide initially. Sodium hydroxide. When it is treated with sodium hydroxide, this gets converted into sodium phenoxide. Sodium phenoxide gets produced in this way. This one reaction with carbon dioxide, later with H plus. Okay, it results in the formation of salicylic acid in this way. Salicylic acid gets produced in this way. Okay, so this is nothing but Kolb's reaction. So here CO2, this is a weak electrophile. This is a weak electrophile. Okay, so here if you see, we are converting this phenol. We are converting this phenol into phenoxide. Sodium phenoxide. We are converting phenol into sodium phenoxide. Why we are converting phenol into phenoxide? The reason is nothing but phenoxide ion. It is more stable when compared with phenol. Okay, and the second thing is nothing but reactivity of phenoxide ion is more when compared with phenol. It can easily react than the phenol. Reactivity of this phenoxide ion is more, or the reactivity of phenoxide ion towards electrophilic substitution will be more. That is why we convert this phenol into phenoxide ion. Let us see the mechanism of this reaction. Okay, how phenol gets converted into salicylic acid. Let us see the mechanism. Mechanism. So phenol initially it is treated with sodium hydroxide. So sodium hydroxide, if it gets ionized, it forms Na plus and OH minus ions. Sodium hydroxide, if it gets ionized, it forms Na plus OH minus. So the OH minus ions which are produced here, they will pull the H plus ion from this phenol and convert this phenol into phenoxide ion in this way. Phenoxide ion gets produced in this way. Okay, we know that the oxygen which is present on this benzene ring. Okay, so the lone pair electrons of this oxygen, they will be in conjugation with this benzene ring. Okay, nothing but it will show a resonating effect. So due to resonating effect, what happens? Electron density, it will increase at ortho and para position. Okay, so in case of phenoxide ion, okay, electrons will be donated from oxygen towards the benzene ring, or the electrons, the lone electrons of this oxygen, they will be in conjugation with the benzene ring. So due to that, electron density will increase at ortho as well as at the para position. Now if you see in the next step, what happens? Okay, this phenoxide ion, it is treated with CO2. CO2 is a weak electrophile. Okay, here if you see this carbon dioxide, okay, oxygen is more electronegative than carbon. So this bond, this pi bond, it will shift towards the oxygen in this way, making the carbon positively charged. So in case of phenoxide ion, since lone electrons are moving into the benzene ring, this pi bond, it will shift towards this carbon. Okay, making this carbon negatively charged. Now this carbon from the carbon dioxide, since it is positively charged, it will come and bind to this negatively charged carbon. Okay, resulting in the formation of this product. It gets produced in this way. Okay. Now in the next step, if you see, this hydrogen which is present here, it will come out as H plus. Okay, making this carbon negatively charged, and this pi bond, it will again shift to the oxygen in this way, making this oxygen negatively charged. So the hydrogen which got liberated as H plus here, it will go and bind to this O minus, this oxygen. Okay, making it COOH. So if this bond is shifted towards this oxygen, it will get a negative charge. Okay, if hydrogen comes out as H plus, this will get a negative charge. Negative and positive again forms a double bond. Okay, so this is the product which gets produced. These reacts with H plus ions, resulting in the formation of benzoic acid in this way. Benzoic acid. Sorry. Salicylic acid, not benzoic acid. Salicylic acid gets produced in this way. Okay, so the name of this compound. So we know that among COOH and OH, the preference is to be given to the carboxylic group. Okay, so this is the principal group, this is the secondary group. So preference is to be given to the carbon having this COOH. So numbering should be started from this carbon 1. So how to name this compound? 2-hydroxy. If OH groups comes as a secondary functional group, then we need to use the word hydroxy. If it is acting as a principal functional group, we need to use ON to indicate that. If it is coming as a secondary functional group, then we need to use the word hydroxy as a prefix. Okay, to the parent name. Okay, so nothing but 2-hydroxy benzoic acid. Benzoic acid. So these we generally call it as salicylic acid. This is called as salicylic acid. So this is the mechanism of Kolb's reaction. So in objective questions, they will ask us which of the following is the product produced by Kolb's reaction. So which is nothing but 2-hydroxy benzoic acid, which is commonly known as salicylic acid. This is the product which gets produced. What is the reactant which we are taking here? Phenol is the reactant. Why phenol gets why we need to convert phenol into phenoxide ion? The reason is nothing but phenoxide is more stable when compared with phenol, and it is more reactive towards electrophilic substitution. That is the reason. Okay, so CO2 which we are using in Kolb's reaction, is that a nucleophile or electrophile? It is an electrophile. It is a weak electrophile. So these things are important in objective points. Okay, please take this. And one more thing about this salicylic acid. So this salicylic acid generally is used in treating acid. Okay, acid is nothing but some black patches will be there on our faces. If you see some of the people, they will have some black dots on their face. So that is nothing but acid. Okay, in order to cure that, okay, this salicylic acid is used, as well as psoriasis. In order to cure this psoriasis also, salicylic acid is used. So these are some uses of salicylic acid. Okay, please take this. The next important reaction is nothing but Riemann-Tiemann reaction. Let us see about that reaction. Riemann-Tiemann reaction. In this reaction also, we take phenol as the reactant. the product which gets produced here is nothing but salicylaldehyde. Okay. Phenol, it is initially reacted with sodium hydroxide to form sodium phenoxide. That is later treated with chloroform in presence of this sodium hydroxide. Okay, that results in the formation of salicylaldehyde. Okay, see the reaction. Phenol on reaction with sodium hydroxide forms phenoxide in this way. These on treatment with chloroform in presence of this sodium hydroxide. Okay, so these results in the formation of salicylaldehyde. This will be later treated with H plus to form salicylaldehyde as the product. This is nothing but salicylaldehyde. So these can also be called as 2-hydroxybenzaldehyde. That is the IPAC. So OH, CHO. Preference will be given to CHO rather than OH. So OH acts as a secondary functional group. CHO acts as a principal functional group. So the carbon having this CHO should get the least number. So numbering should be started from this carbon 1, 2. So which is nothing but 2-hydroxybenzaldehyde. 2-hydroxybenzaldehyde. That is the name. Now let us see the mechanism. How salicylaldehyde got produced from phenol. Let us see the mechanism. Okay. So phenol, it is initially treated with sodium hydroxide. Nothing but the hydroxy ions which are formed here, they will pull this H plus ion, resulting in the formation of a phenoxide ion in this way. Sodium phenoxide gets produced. This sodium phenoxide, it will react with chloroform in presence of sodium hydroxide. So if you see this chloroform, initially it gets converted into CCl3 minus. See this, initially CHCl3 reacts with OH minus ions. So OH minus ions are from sodium hydroxide, resulting in the formation of CCl3 minus plus H2O. So the CCl3 minus which got produced here, okay, this will undergo alpha elimination. It will undergo alpha elimination, resulting in the formation of dichlorocarbon. Dichlorocarbon gets produced. Carbene gets produced. Carbene. Okay. Carbenes, we know that they are electrophilic in nature. They are electrophiles. They act as electrophiles. Okay. They are electron deficient in nature. Now this dichlorocarbon which got produced here, it will come and bind to the benzene ring. It will come and bind to the carbon of the benzene ring. Okay. So we know that oxygen. Okay. So the electrons of this oxygen, the lone electrons which are present on this oxygen, they will be in resonance or they will be in conjugation with the benzene ring. So electron density will increase at ortho and para positions. So the electrophile, nothing but CCl2, it will come and bind at ortho position. Okay. So when these electrons are coming towards the benzene ring, when the electrons from this oxygen, when they are moving towards this benzene ring, okay, this pi bond will shift towards this carbon. So this positive charge and the oxygen will form a double bond in this. So CCl2 will come and bind to this in this way. Okay. The next thing is nothing but this hydrogen which is present here, it will come out as H plus. That H plus will be taken up by this carbon. Okay. So when hydrogen from this carbon is moving out as H plus, this carbon will get a negative charge and this pi bond will shift again to the oxygen, making this carbon positively charged. So this positively charged carbon and negatively charged carbon, again they will form a double bond. CHCl2. Okay. Now this will react with sodium hydroxide. Hydrolysis, you can say, with the help of this NaOH takes place. Nothing but these two chlorine atoms which are present on this carbon, they get substituted by the OH groups. Okay. So this product which is produced here, it will get hydrolyzed by this sodium hydroxide. Okay. So it results in the formation of these are the products. Now if you see this product, on the same carbon, 2 hydroxy groups are present. Okay. If 2 hydroxy groups are present on the same carbon, it will be unstable in nature. So due to that, H2O molecule gets removed in this way. H2O gets removed. Okay. So when OH is coming out, okay, OH will come out as OH minus. This carbon will get a positive charge. Now hydrogen from this oxygen, if it comes out, it will come out as H plus. This oxygen will get a negative charge. So this positively charged carbon and negatively charged oxygen, they will form a double bond. Okay. CHO gets produced in this way. Okay. These one reacting with H plus, it results in the formation of salicylaldehyde. Salicylaldehyde gets produced. CHO. Okay. So salicylaldehyde, we can use that as a solvent for paints. Salicylaldehyde. Okay. So this is about Riemann-Tiemann reaction. So which of the following in objective questions, how they will ask based on this topic? It's nothing but what are the reagents used in Riemann-Tiemann reaction? We generally use chloroform in presence of sodium hydroxide. What is the electrophile that gets generated in Riemann-Tiemann reaction? Dichlorocarbene, that is the electrophile. So what is the product which gets produced by Riemann-Tiemann reaction? Salicylaldehyde. What is the reactant? Phenol. So these things are important. Please keep them in mind. So this is the mechanism. Hope you understood. Please take it. The next reaction of phenol with the zinc dust. So when phenol is treated with the zinc dust, oxidation will take place and phenol gets converted into benzene. Remember this. Phenol is on reaction with zinc dust, it forms benzene as the product. Benzene gets produced along with dyes, zinc oxide gets produced. Okay, so in objective questions we come across this. Okay, when phenol is treated with zinc, which of the following is the product? Okay, they will give us benzene. Okay, they can give us benzoquinone. In this way they will give the options. So remember that when we are treating phenol with zinc dust, oxidation of phenol takes place. When oxidation takes place, it results in the formation of benzene as the product. Okay, please take this. The next reaction, when we are treating phenol with chromic acid. Okay, chromic acid is produced when we are treating sodium dichromate with sulfuric acid. When sodium dichromate is treated with sulfuric acid, chromic acid gets produced. What is the formula of chromic acid? H2CrO4. This is the formula of chromic acid. Okay, so phenol is treated with sodium dichromate in presence of sulfuric acid. Nothing but we are treating phenol with chromic acid. So oxidation will take place and it results in the formation of benzoquinone. Benzoquinone gets produced. This is the product. Okay, so when phenol is treated with chromic acid, benzoquinone gets produced. So these are the reactions of phenols. So we have seen nitration reaction, we have seen halogenation reaction, Next, we have seen Kolb's reaction, we have seen Riemer-Tiemann reaction, we have seen reaction of phenol with the zinc dust. The last reaction is nothing but reaction of phenol with the chromic acid. Okay, so these are the reactions of phenols. Okay, please remember. Now let us see some commercially important alcohols. Okay, nothing but about methanol and ethanol. Methanol and ethanol are commercially important. Let us see about these two alcohols. Let us first start with methanol. Methanol. Okay, formula of this methanol is nothing but CH3OH. Methanol, it is also known as wood spirit. It is also known as wood spirit. Okay, so generally this methanol, it is obtained by destructive distillation of wood. Destructive distillation of wood. So what is the destructive distillation? What is the meaning of this destructive distillation? Destructive distillation is nothing but heating a substance at high temperatures. Okay, in absence of air or in presence of small amount of oxygen, we call that as destructive distillation of wood. Okay, so when we do destructive distillation of wood, methanol gets produced. Okay, or commercially this methanol can also be obtained by catalytic hydrogenation of carbon monoxide. Okay, so carbon monoxide is treated with hydrogen in presence of a catalyst. Catalyst is nothing but zinc oxide and chromium oxide. So this is the catalyst which we are using. So we are hydrogenating this carbon monoxide in presence of this catalyst at a pressure of 200 to 300 atmospheres and at a temperature of 573 to 673 Kelvin. So it will produce methanol as the product. This is the commercial preparation of methanol. Okay. The next thing is nothing but methanol. It is highly poisonous in nature. It is highly poisonous. Even a small amount of methanol, even if a small amount of methanol is taken, okay, it leads to blindness. Blindness will be caused. This is the effect of methanol. Okay, when we consume a large quantity, death will be caused. Simple thing. Okay, so a small amount of methanol, when it is consumed, it results in blindness. When we consume a large quantity, it results in death. Okay. Generally, this methanol, it is used as a solvent in paints. It is used as a solvent in paints, varnishes. Okay. So this is something about methanol. Okay. And we can also prepare formaldehyde by using this methanol. Formaldehyde. It can also be produced from methanol. So now let us see about ethanol. Here, I will tell you. Let us see about ethanol. Ethanol. C2H5OH. Generally, ethanol is obtained by fermentation process. By fermentation process, this ethanol can be obtained. Okay. Fermentation. Oldest method used for fermentation is nothing but from sugars. Okay. Sugars, they are made to undergo fermentation process in order to produce this alcohol. Okay, that is the oldest method. Generally, if you see some of the substances like molasses, sugarcane, or grapes, okay, so in these things, sugar will be more. So we use these as the reactants in order to produce alcohol or ethanol. Okay, so fermentation process is nothing but conversion of carbohydrates like glucose or fructose into alcohol, nothing but ethanol. We call that as fermentation process. Okay. if you see the preparation of wine, okay, grapes are usually taken. Grapes, they are the starting things for the preparation of wine. So these grapes, they will undergo ripened state. Okay, ripe grapes will be taken. So in the ripe grapes, sugar content will be more. Okay, along with these grapes, yeast will also be present. So what is the use of this yeast means? Okay, it will provide an enzyme zymase. Okay, so this zymase, it converts the glucose or fructose into ethanol. That is the use of yeast. Okay, so this yeast, which is present along with the grapes, it feeds on the skin of the grapes. Okay, so when grapes are crushed, the enzyme from this yeast, it will convert the glucose or fructose into alcohol, nothing but ethanol. Okay, let us see the reactions. If you see the reactions, C12H22O11. This is the sugar. Okay, nothing but sucrose. This is the formula of sucrose. If it undergoes hydrolysis, it will produce glucose and fructose. Glucose and fructose. Either glucose or fructose can be taken to form the ethanol. Okay, so for conversion of this sugar into glucose and fructose, we use the enzyme invertase. Invertase is the enzyme which is generally used. Okay, now glucose, which is produced in the first reaction, it is treated with the enzyme zymase, as I said before. Okay, so this zymase is generally present in yeast. When grapes are crushed, this zymase enzyme, it will react with the glucose and converts this glucose into ethanol. Ethanol gets produced in this way, C2H5OH. Okay, so when the concentration of ethanol exceeds 14%, then the activity of this zymase enzyme is prohibited. It is inhibited. Okay, so remember this, an objective question can be asked based on this also. Up to what percentage, okay, conversion of ethanol from glucose gets proceeded? 14%. Until the concentration of the solution reaches 14%, okay, it will be allowed. After 14%, okay, the activity of this enzyme will be inhibited. The next thing is nothing but to make this ethanol unfit for drinking. Okay, generally copper sulfate will be added. It gives some different color. By looking at that color, people who drink alcohol, okay, they will not have a tendency to consume alcohol. So in order to make this ethanol unfit for drinking, generally they will add copper sulfate. It gives a different color. The next thing is nothing but pyridine is also added. When pyridine is added to ethanol, it gives a foul smell. Foul smell will be obtained. Okay, so making alcohol or ethanol unfit for drinking, that process we generally call it as denaturation of alcohol. Denaturation of alcohol. So denaturation is nothing but making the ethanol or alcohol unfit for drinking. We call that as denaturation. So we can add copper sulfate to give color to that alcohol. Okay, or we can add this pyridine, okay, to the alcohol. It will give a foul smell. So this is nothing but denaturation. So these are some commercially important alcohols. Hope you understood. Okay. In the next session, we will be talking about ethers. Okay. If you like my videos, please give a like, please subscribe, or please share it. Okay. Thank you all.